Welcome everyone to session 9 of our Introduction to React Library series. We are nearing the end of the first part of our Reacting with Node Mastering Development series, but fear not, there are still plenty of exciting learning ahead. As always, let's keep up the energy and engagement. Be active, be interactive, and don't hesitate to ask any questions that come to mind. Your curiosity fuels our discussions and help us all grow together. So let's get into our session and I'll hand it over to our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Last day, we have done our design for to-do app and have created our components. Today, we are going to start with our Redux. So I'll share my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, Sakha.
Okay. Last day we have created this. Today we are going to start with our Redux. So I have to add a few libraries to use Redux in my project. So I'm going to add React Toolkit and React Redux. I'm going to copy some code from their site. So I'll take these things. I'm going to add this. And also I'm going to add the toolkit. And also I'm going to use Axios to use endpoints. So I'm going to add that too. So these are the packages I'm going to use today. So let me copy some code from their site. So I'll go here and I'm going to copy reducer code. So let me copy this and paste in my code and edit it. Okay. So this is reducers, employee reducer. I'm going to edit this code. As I'm using JS files, I'm not going to use typing, so I don't need these ones. So I'll remove the typings. My initial employee state is going to be a object with a property called employee, which is an empty array. And also I'm going to have another initial state in my to-do reducer that is also a to-do list with initial state will be an empty array. So I'll edit these names too. Employee. I don't want these commands, so I'm removing these ones. And I'll remove these reducers and I'm going to create a reducer inside this. Let us plan what are the actions, functions we need. For our system, we need to load the initial employees because we have this page. For this page, we need to, home page, we need to load the initial employees. And for our to-do page, here also we need to load the initial to-do list, and also we are going to add and edit and delete. So I'm going to write 4 functions here and one function in the employee action. So for that action, I want a reducer here. I'm going to write the reducers first. So I want to load initial employee. This function is going to take state and an action. Here, what we are going to do is we are going to populate the employee in our state. So state dot employee equals to, I'm going to pass the property named employee in my payload. So payload dot employee. This is my reducer in employee slice. I am going to change this name to, and I want to export my reducer. All good in my reducer now. So I'm going to copy and paste the same thing inside my to-do reducer and change the names. Let me say to-do list and load initial to-do list. And here this is state is to-do list. I'm going to name, give a payload named to-do, so that that is also to-do list. So here, this is, I'm just naming it as to-do. So I have written one reducer here, but we need add, edit, delete too. So let me write that too. Add to-do. Here, I'll copy this and paste it. I'm going to copy this 3 more times and edit it. Okay, 2 more times. And here update and delete. Here when I'm adding, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread out the state I already have inside an array. This will give the same, exact same value as this. And also I'm going to add another value inside this array. So I can use, this is spread operator, I can use comma action dot payload. Inside my payload, I'm going to pass a property name. I have to just name it. So let me name it as to-do item. So this will be added to this list, and we are assigning to state.to-do list. And here update, what we are going to do here is I'm going to filter out the updated to-do const filtered item equals, I'm going to create an array which consists of the same values. So dot filter, I'm going to filter from this value, item dot, okay, to-do list. Our to-do list structure will be this. So we have an ID, item dot ID not equals to, I'm going to pass an item named to-do item inside my action. So I'm going to use the same thing. Action dot payload dot to-do item. So what we are doing here is we are taking all the values which doesn't have the ID which we are passing in our action. We are filtering out that one object from our array. So that is done. Now what I'm going to do is, for our to-do item list, I'm going to spread out filtered item, and also I'm going to give the updated object, that is action.payload. I'm going to pass that item in to-do item. So that is also done. For delete, I'm just going to filter it out and assign that to to-do list. So I'll paste this. I'm going to paste it and edit it, because I'll not pass an, normally we'll not pass a object when we are deleting. I'm just going to pass an ID. So I'm going to give it as ID. And here I have some error because I can't like put do this action in an object, and ID is a string, an object. I can't do this. So what I wanted to do, dot ID. We have an ID inside our to-do item. So I'm just comparing those two. So that is done. So our reducer, we have written our reducer now. So what I'm going to do now is, we have separate reducers in our files. I'm going to make the combined reducer. For that, we have a file inside our store directory, reducers. Here what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make the combined reducer. I'll name it as all reducers. First combined reducer. Here I'll give two names, to do, and I'm going to import my to do reducer here. So we have exported this as default export, so I can use any name and import from this file. Then I'll get this default export. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the name to do, import to do from to do reducers, and employee. I'll copy and paste this. So my combined reducer is done. So I'm going to export this as the default export. When we are using the same name like this, to do equals to do and employee equals employee, we can even remove this and use like this. I'm going to export default all reducers. Now I'm going to create my store. For that, I'm going to create a file name store inside my store folder. So to create the store, we have to use configure store like this. So I'm going to copy this. And for reducers, we have our combined reducer. So I'm going to import that. Import all reducers from reducers. So store creation is done. Now I'm going to import my store to my main app page, main component, and wrap my component with my store so that I can use the store in any place inside this component. I can use in all the child components. So let me import store from store directory and store file. For that, I have to use provider from React Redux, and I have to give store for that. And let me close it and wrap it around my app. So now I can use this store in any place of my app. So now what I am going to do is I'm going to create actions. Let me first start with employee. So first I'm going to create an action to load the initial value. Const load initial, let me say employee equals. The action is going to accept a property called dispatch and DSP dispatch. So inside this, I'm going to use Axios and get values from my endpoint. So let me go to, I'm using endpoint from this place. So let me go to my employee endpoint. I'm using these endpoints to load my employees. So here Axios dot get, and after getting details from this URL, I'll use then, and this then is going to give me result, I can use this and manipulate inside this function. And also I can, if any errors appears, I can catch that in the catch block. So there I'm going to catch error and I'm going to console log this error. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to export this. Export inside this. I'm going to use my reducer. I have already written my reducer to load initial employees. So let me go to employee reducer and copy this and use it here. So let me import from employee and reducers. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, let me use it here. Dispatch, and I'm going to dispatch load initial employees. So this is done. Now let me check whether everything works as expected. For that, I have to use this function somewhere. So I'm going to use this inside my employee page. So let me go to employee index and I'm going to use use effect. And inside this, I'm going to use the function. For that, I have to import dispatch, use dispatch. I'll write the code here, use dispatch here. Dispatch equals use dispatch. So this is from React Redux. I'm going to call this and use this dispatch and call this dispatch this action. So I'm going to import that action from so employee and action. I have to give dispatch to my dependency array. So this should work as expected. So let me check that. Something is wrong here. Export default importer store was not found. Store was not found. Okay. Our store is here. Okay, we are not exporting as default. Export default. So now this should be okay, yes. And I'm going to check my dev tools, and inside my dev tools, I'm going to Redux. This one is from Chrome extension. I have already installed this Redux dev tool extension. So here I'm coming and checking for my state. So let me refresh it. I have my state, but employee is not populated yet. So let's see what is the error. I'm going to first check whether that endpoint is called and whether that is returning result to us. So I'm going to go to network tab, and the problem is I'm not in employee page. So in employee page, okay, this endpoint is called, and let me check the redux. Still, I don't have value here. So let me check users inside inside the data. I have a property called users, and there I'm getting all the user list. So let me debug what is the error in my code. So let me go to action. Okay, here I'll console log this result. Ah, uh, I'm not actually passing anything through my dispatch. For the load initial employee reducer, I have to pass value. So I'll go there and check what I have written. Employee reducers. Inside the action, inside payload, I have to pass something called employee. So what I have to do is I'll go to action, and I have to pass a property here. So inside payload, I have to pass result dot data dot, the data is coming in the name users. So users. Now this should be okay. So if I go to my Redux, okay, my employee list is populated inside my state. So that is fine for me. Now I'm going to get that list and display that in my page. For that, I have to use selectors. So I'll go to my selectors file, const select all employee equals, okay. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Thanks. Sorry for that. Let me continue. So I am writing my selectors. So select all employee equals, this is going to accept state. So state, and we are going to return employees from our Redux state. So state dot employee. The name of our state is, we use this name. So state dot employee inside our state, we have a property named employee. That is what we need. So we are getting this. We are going to export this. So I'll use this in my page. This is my page, employee page. So we are already using dummy data. For that, instead of that, I'm going to use this. So const employee, I'm going to comment this out, our dummy data equals, I'm going to use selector from React Redux. So this is imported here, and I'm going to use our selector, that is select all employee. So I'm going to import select all employee from selectors. Now this should work fine. Let us check. Okay, that works fine, but why 0 is coming for everything? Because we are using that dummy data and we don't have value for that. So the 0 is coming. So let that be like that for now. We'll edit the to-do page also. After that, it will get corrected. So for the to-do list page also, I'm going to copy these things and paste it there, because we have to use the initial load to do action in that page. So I'm just going to edit it there. Index and to do index. I'll copy it here, and inside my to do action, I'm going to copy the same action and edit it there. Here, this is initial to do list from to do reducers, and I'm going to use it here. And the endpoint I want to use is I'll duplicate this page and keep that aside, because we need that too. So here I want to do list. I want to use this endpoint. So let me paste it here. And in my reducer, inside my reducer, I'm using a payload called to do list. So I'm going to use the same name. And for this users, let me check what's the name there inside my output, that is to do's. I'm going to use that here. All good. And let me also change the name, that is load initial to do's. Okay, all good. And I'll go here. And this is going to be load initial to-dos. And these all things are going to be all same, but this is not exported here. Use dispatch. Now it's exported. Use effect is not exported, so I'll copy and paste here. Dispatch. Okay. All good here. And also this is going to be to-dos. Let me name that as to-do list, because we are already using this name. That is a component, sorry. And also I don't want this to-do list here, because I'm using the to-do list inside my to-do list component. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the to-do list inside my parent component and pass that to my to-do list component. For that, let me name it as to-do list and use selector. For this, I have to use, let me go to my to-do list selectors. I didn't write anything yet. I'll copy and paste this to my to-do list selectors and select all to-dos, and here dot to-do. Let me check the name of mine. It is to-do and to-do list. So here it's going to be to-do and to-do list. Select all to-dos is going to come here. Sorry, it is okay. Now this should be okay. Let me check. This is not exported, so use selector, and this should be imported from and store and to do and select. All good. I got my list here. So I'm going to pass this to my component. I'll put another property named to-do list and pass it. This component has to accept that property. So I'll get it here. And for this to do, I'm going to use the to-do list and comment this out. I don't want this anymore. So everything should work, but there is an error here. Why it is giving an error? I have copied index the wrong code. So the error comes. And there is another this one we didn't import it. So this is from action. Now all good. Let me go and check my to-do page. Now employee state is populated. Now my to-do list state is not populated yet. There is some error. My components got messed up. So let me check what went wrong here. Okay. What happened here? Dispatch, use effect, okay. All good here. Then what is the issue? There is some issue here. So, okay. There was some issue with my browser only, so all good. And yeah, my to-do list also got populated from this page, and employee list is not there because I refreshed it. If I go to employee page, now I got all my employee list too. So all good with that. Now still the 0 is coming because we are getting the value from the dummy data, it seems. Let me check it. Why the 0 is still coming in my employee page. So yeah, we are getting this to do from my dummy from the dummy data. So I'll comment that out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the to do from the state. For that, I can use the selector. I'm just going to copy that code from here and put it there. So let me name it as to do. And now I have to import this. I'll copy that code also from here and paste it here. So all good. Now it should use the state value. So let me check it. Now I'm getting different values here and there. So seems all good. Now let me go here. Now I'm going to continue with my add, edit and delete. So for that, let me start with add now. So I'll close this, I'll remove these things I don't want. I can even remove my dummy data. I'm not using it anymore. But for the moment, I'll just leave that. I'll close the files which I'm not going to use now. So let me close all these files. I'm going to use this action. I'm going to use to-do index, and I'm going to use, no, I'm not going to use this now. I'm going to use selectors from to-dos, action from to-dos, not employee action, and reducers from to-dos. So I'm going to continue with my add to-do. For that, I'm going to write a function, action. Let me copy it down and rename it as add to do, and I'm going to get the endpoint from my endpoints. I don't need it. So to add a to do, add new to do, I can use this endpoint, and this is going to be a post endpoint, and I have to pass an object like this. So let me use the endpoint, and I want to change this as post because that is a post method, and with the results I also want to pass a value. I'm going to pass the value. I'm going to use a wrapper function for this method, action, so that I can get a value from wherever I'm using it and pass it to my endpoint. So I'm going to use a wrapper function. And here I'm going to get the to-do item, which I'm going to pass to my endpoint. To-do item, and I'm going to pass it here. And with the results, I'm going to use this reducer at to-do. Here in the payload, I'm going to pass the to-do item. So at to-do reducer, and I'm going to pass to-do item. That I have to check what's the name of the item of my results. There is no property named anything, so we are just going to use result.data. We use result.data.todos here because in our output we are getting an object like this. Here inside to-dos we are getting the data, so I use .todos. Here I don't need to use anything like that, so I can use result.data. So here I'm passing that, but I think I didn't import it here, so I'll import that here too. So all good. I'm going to copy this 2 times and edit this action for update and delete. Update and delete. Okay. And also I have to change the reducers, update and delete, and update. And here, what are the endpoints I'm going to use? This is for delete, and the method is delete, so I have to use this. And also I need to change the method for delete, and method is going to be delete. But here we are passing the ID of the item. We can't use this value. I have to use a dynamic value. So in the delete function action, what I am going to do is I'm going to get a property named ID to delete. So that is going to be that item ID. So I'll put ID, and I'm going to pass this ID to the URL. To use the value in the URL, I can use backtick, and inside the backtick, I can use $ and curly brackets and pass this value. This will append this data to that string. So, okay, that will work fine. We don't need to pass any object to delete method. So that is also good. So here, sorry, in the delete to do, what we have to do, we have to pass a payload called ID. So ID equals, let me check what is the data I'm getting back from my delete endpoint. So I'm getting the whole object. So I'm going to use data.id. And I have to import these two. So all good. And this is fine. And let me edit update function. So for that, and this is put to patch method, that is for update. So this endpoint is going to be the exact same as this, but the method, just the method is going to change. So I'm going to copy this one and paste it there. And the method is going to be, I'm going to use patch. And here also we are going to pass an item called to-do item, an object which is the updated to-do object. So I'm naming that as to-do item and passing it to the endpoint. Here I don't have anything called ID here, but I have something called to-do item.id. So I'll use it there. And to update to-do, what I have to pass is I'm getting a to-do item, the updated to-do object. So this is all right. And what's the result we are getting? We are getting an item. So yeah, results.data. So that is good. So our actions are done. Now I'm going to use it in my code. So add to do, where I'm using the adding function in add edit component. So here we have a button which can add or edit. Here on click, I have a function here. What I'm going to do is here also we need two functions. If we have to do item detail, we want an edit function or else an add function. So I'm going to use the same ternary operator, and if we have to do details, I want edit to do function, else I want add to do function. As of now, we have only given add to do. I'm going to define edit to do here. Inside add to do, I'm going to call our dispatch our action add to do. So I'm going to use the call the use dispatch here. So let me call use dispatch cons dispatch equals to use dispatch from React Redux we have imported here. So I'm going to dispatch add to do from our action. So we have to import that to add to do from store and to do action. And we also want to pass a value, that is to do item, that is going to be a added to do object. How can we get that added to do object here? We are having an error here, because what we are doing is we are using the exact same name for two functions. So I'm going to name this as add to do on click, and I'm going to rename this to edit to do on click and give it there. add to do on click and edit to do on click. Okay, here inside add to do, I have to give added to do item. I have the structure of that item in my endpoint description. So I'll check the structure. This is that endpoint. So this is going to be my the object I'm going to pass to this endpoint. So I'll hard code this and edit it. This is going to be my to-do description. I have that on in my component state. To-do item is the description. So I'll give it, and also I want user ID. I have this user ID, selected employee, and selected value is my user ID. So this is my user ID here. So I'll pass it here. And I'm not using it. So let me just give that, leave that as it is for now. So because I don't want this, but they want, they are asking this value to pass. So I'm just going to leave it there. So this should add an employee, and I'm also going to write the edit function. So for that, for add, I'm going to use update to do, and also I want to pass updated to do. So, and I want to import this, and let me check the update to do endpoint object which I am passing. This is my update, and I have to pass only the updated values, the values which I am updating. So in my case, when I am clicking on update, I want to pass to do and user ID, updated user ID. So I'll pass these two value, and now I'm going to check whether these add and edit works fine. So let me, there is some error. Add to do was not found. It says add to do was not found in reducer. Let me check what is the issue. Add to do. Okay, in the inside action, I have what? Okay, it says seems like we didn't export this from our reducer. Yeah, we didn't export it. So I'm going to export this 3. Okay, now it should be all good. And yeah, fine. Now, let me check. Let me add the value and check. I have a lot of value here, so it's a little hard to check whether the one I'm adding is getting added. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get only 3 values. In our endpoint description, we have something called limit equals 3, so that we can get only 3 values. I'm going to use that in my to do action. So I can get only 3 values. Okay, this should give me only 3 values. So let me load it again. Let me check. I have only 3 values. Now I'm going to add another value. Test new to do, and I'm going to select. I have to change the value for my select to So let me go and change it. That is in my add edit component. I have a select. So here I'm giving employee option. Where am I getting this employee from? I'm getting the employees from dummy data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the employee from my state. I'm going to use selectors for that. For that, I'm going to copy this code from here and select all employees. I'm copying this too. So let me use the selector. Okay, use selector is also not there. Let me import that too. All good. Now my employee should be okay. Let me check my page. Okay, I'm getting all my employee names here. So all good. And now I'm going to add a test to do and select an employee and add it. Okay, so this is getting added to my state. One to-do list is added. So one to-do list is added to my page too. So all works fine as expected. I'm going to edit this now. I'll write as edited and I'll assign to some other person and edit. But it's not working. We didn't write any function to, no, we have written, but somewhat it's not working. We have to check it. And also it says user not found. There is some error there too. So let me check it. Check the both. First we'll check why that comes as user not found. Test, and I'll select the first one and add says user not found. We'll check what is happening here. User not found, that section is in to-do list. So let me search that. Control F, and it's here. User list dot first name, user details. How am I getting the user details? I'm using dummy data here. So for that also, I'm going to use the state. So I'm going to use the selector. I'm going to copy the same thing. Select all. Where is that? And edit. Select all employees, and this is my selector. I'm going to use it here. So I'll import use selector to, okay. So I don't want this. I'll cut this code. Now my username should appear. Okay, this username is appearing, these two, but these two says, it still says user not found. What could be the issue? Let me, okay, because this not loaded. Add. Still that says user not found. Let me check what is the issue. In my to do, the user ID is 1. And in my user list, there is a user with ID 1. Still, I'm not getting value because my user ID is string here, but the other places and here it is a number. That is the error. So I have to change this string to number. So what I'm going to do is, let me go to the place where I'm adding it. So that is add edit here. My use ID is coming from selected value. So I'll check where I'm setting the value. Here, all good to do item details to use ID, that is good. And here target dot value. So this seems to be a string here. So let me console log and check. Yeah, I can't check the type, but what I can do is I can check the type of selected value. Option L and type of selected value. Now let me go to console and see. It says selected value equals string. So there is an error, of course. Let me change it. Say string. So when I'm changing, it is coming as string. So I have to make that as number. Let me pass the value inside number function. And now it should give a number. Let me check whether it works as expected. So it says undefined. Why is that? Selected value, I have written selected value here. And set selected value. We are passing the number. We are changing this into number and passing. So why this is giving an error here? Let me check what is the value inside of a e.target.value. So I'm going to wrap this inside curly brackets, and I'm going to log the element and console log this, so I can see the element here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load the employee details also inside my to-do page, so that I don't need to go to home page to load the employee list and then come to-do page to load the to-do list. If I load both of those states when I am inside the to-do list, that will be easier for me. So I'm going to use this code inside my to-do page. So index, and I don't need to use this again. And I'm going to import this load initial employees here. So all good. And I'm going to refresh it here and select the value. Okay, that is coming as 1, but I want the type of that. So I'll go to add edit and I want the type of the value. So that is a string. To convert the string to number, okay, I'm using this. That should be okay. Let me check the type of this one. Is this number all good? Still I'm having an error. Let me check why is that. Set selected value number. Okay, all good. And selected value, type of selected value. Okay. Let me console log it again. What is happening? Okay, that is undefined. Now it is number. It should be okay now. Test and add. Now it is working fine. We had an error because our value was assigned as a string. Now we have changed this to number. So our adding part is working as expected. Now we want to check our edit. So the data is populated, but our edit function is somewhat not working. So I'll check what is wrong with our edit function. So if it is edit, we are giving edit to do on click function. Inside that, we are doing some action, but it is not working as expected. I'll do a console log. So, and check whether this function is working. Function is called. So I'll click on edit and edit. This function is called, not a problem. We are having an error here, not found. So inside our network, we have some issue here to do with the ID undefined, not found. So what's the issue here? Okay, ID is going as undefined here. So we need to check why that is going as undefined, because we are not giving any IDs here. So it will obviously go as undefined. So what I'm going to do is, here I'm giving only to do item and user ID. I also want to give ID of this particular to-do object we are editing. For that, we have this object when we are editing the to-do item. So we have this to-do item details. Inside this, we have an ID. I guess I'll console log it and check what we have inside this object. So here, inside this, we have an ID. So I'm going to use it there. So ID equals to dot ID. So this should work. Let me check it. Okay, edit and click on edit. And what is happening here also? We are having an issue. Yeah, give me a moment. Okay, so yeah, we'll look into what what's wrong with our edit. And with that, we'll bind up our session for today. And tomorrow, what we are going to do is we have delete functions and search. We'll look into delete and search, and then we'll have question and answer session. If you have any questions, please ask. Yeah, we'll now look into the edit. So there is some error here. It says 404 not found. Why is that? Patch. Let me check my endpoint whether that is right. Sorry. This is my endpoint, and I can use put or patch, and I'm going to pass an object. This must be all right, but why it says not found? Let me check. Wrong. Payload is fine. Review to do with ID3 not found. It says to do with ID3 not found. Why is that? But inside our Redux, inside here we have to do with ID3, but it says to do with ID3 not found. Let me try to add the other one and check the network. It's here. That is also, it also says not found. Why is that? With ID2 not found. Okay, so let me check what is the error. ID, okay. Okay, maybe I should not pass ID here. That may be the issue. So I'll try to pass without this ID and see what happens. So I have this inside my add edit. I'm passing an object. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the ID separately and the object separately. So let me delete it, ID and an object. So inside my update to do, I'm going to get the ID and then the object. So this should work. Let me check, but whether this works as expected. So let me refresh it and edit and edit. That works fine. So yeah, all good. And I'm getting this as results. So let me, what I'm going to do is when I'm editing, I want to close this modal. So let me change this as edited and change a name and edit. I'm going to manually change. Okay, this is edited, but my model is not closing. For that, inside my edit on click function, that is inside my add edit component, I'm going to close the modal. So to close the modal, I should have the access to the modal open and close function, which is inside my index page. So it is actually not inside my index page. This should be inside my to-do list, I guess. So I'll go inside my to-do list, edit model. Yeah, it is here. So open and close set model and model are here. So what I'm going to do, I want this state inside my add edit component. For that, what I can do is I can take this component from here to my parent component and pass these values to the child components. So inside my to-do list, I'm going to pass this set model. And also I'm going to pass this inside my add edit. Sorry, to-do list. Inside my to-do list only I want that. No, add edit. Give me a second. Here I'm using add edit for add edit function, edit component here. On click, where I'm clicking on the edit, that should be inside my to-do list. Here only I was already using the model, so edit is here. And my edit button is here, so inside that I'm using on click. Okay, yeah. I'm setting the model open from here. So inside my edit model, okay, edit model is here, and to-do list, edit model is here. Okay, all good. And I want that I have these values inside my edit model somehow. So if I go to edit model, I'm using this add edit. So I want to pass this here. So I'm going to undo the things I did now. I don't want to pass this to my parent component. I don't want it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this to my edit model, and from edit model I'm going to pass this to my add edit component. We are already passing it to the edit model. So from here I'm going to pass this to my add edit component. So and inside this I want to get this properties. So I don't really want this, but I want this property. So in add edit, I want to get this set model. So when after I have edited this, I want to set model to false. Now everything should be good. This should come under this, all good. And yeah, edit and edit. Now this works as expected. So our add and edit functions are done. So we have to do delete and also search. Those are the things remaining. So we'll look into them in the next session. We'll be completing our to-do system in half an hour in the next session, hopefully. So after that, we will have a discussion. Please be prepared with some questions so we can, if you ask anything, we can discuss on that subject. And yeah, thanks everyone, and over to you, Varsha. Thank you.
Thank you, Akka. As the speaker told, we'll be looking into the remaining part tomorrow. We'll finish it around like in half an hour or something, the remaining part of this to-do app. And then after that, we'll be discussing the questions. To post your questions, we have already sent you a link in the group. So make sure to submit your questions or doubts or anything you wish the speaker to address, and we'll be sharing those questions with the speaker, and those would be addressed in tomorrow's session, and it would be the last session for the introduction to React library. The remaining would be conducted a bit later. That's all. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.